In this section, we're going to get into routes as well as Jade view files. So we have our home page here, which basically has nothing on it. So what we want to do is turn this into something like this. Okay, we're going to have this big Jumbotron area and then these three columns down here. All right, so if I go to, let's open our app.js, and I briefly went over this, but we're going to set up routes. So here you'll see that we have a variable called routes, and that's being set to this routes/index. And then down here we're saying app.use, and the slash, which represents just the root, the home page, is going to be set to this routes variable, which is set again to routes index. Okay. This users one, we can actually get rid of this. We're not going to use that or this. Alright, and then let's go ahead and go in the routes folder and then index. Okay, so that's basically what this is pointing to. And then in here, we're just gonna set our express variable and our router. And then here, we're gonna call router.get. Okay, and this represents a get request to the home page, which is this slash right here. And then we're going to call a function, and we're going to call this response render. And render is just going to basically display our Jade file, and we're telling it to display index.jade. And then the second parameter here is going to be a JSON object, and you can include different variables here. In this case, we're including a title that's set to express. And then in the Jade file, in views index.jade, we're using this title, okay? And that is basically coming from here. And that's why you see this express and express. Those are coming from the title variable here and here. Now you'll notice this version has this hashtag and then the curly braces. That's because we're directly including it in a sentence. Okay, basically we're concatenating it onto this. This one doesn't have that because there's no other content. There's no content here except that. So we can just say title without this stuff. Alright, hopefully I explained that well enough. So what I want to do is go ahead and change that title to home and save. And if I reload, you don't see any changes. That's because when we edit Jade files only, we don't need to restart the server. If we edit route files and these JavaScripts, we have to. So if we go back to our git bash and Control-C to stop it, and then npm start again to start it. And if we reload, now you can see that the title has changed to home. Alright, now to make this look like this, we need to go to index.jade, and let's see, I'm going to just take this out. Okay, we don't need that. And then in the layout, I just want to make it so that our title that we define is shows up here in the tab. So we need layout.jade, and let's see, we need this title right here. So I'm just going to say, since we're including it right in the content, we need to have this and title, and let's put a colon there and save. And now if we reload, you can see that the page title is now shown before the website title. Alright, so now to Jade index.jade. So we need to go ahead and create a Jumbotron class. Alright, and then inside the Jumbotron, we want a container. Whoops, that should have a dot for a class. Alright, and then in the container, we're going to have an h1. We'll have that say, how may I help you? And then under that, we'll have a paragraph. And notice I didn't indent because I want it under the h1, not inside of it. And then I'm just going to paste some sample text in here real quick. And then we'll have a link. And we'll give that a class of btn. and also BTN. What do I want to do here? Primary. BTN primary, and also BTN LG because I want it to be a large button. Then we put our attributes inside of parentheses, and we'll have this href go nowhere. And that should be it for attributes. For the button text, we'll say learn more, and we'll do the little symbol RAQUO, and that should give us the Jumbotron. Alright, so we're using tabs and spaces but not both. So we need to, I guess this is, let's see what line looks like the container. Yeah, so we just need to kind of reset that. So tab, tab, and I might need to do it with some others. What? Oh, it's probably the other container, this one. Jumbotron. This can get really aggravating. Alright, you know what? I'm just going to do all of them. Alright, just make sure there's no spaces. Alright, so that looks good. Now, the next part will be those 3 columns down here. So I want to go, let's see, on the same level as the Jumbotron. So I'm going to go right here. We're going to have a class called row. And then we'll have, oh, I'm sorry, we want a container first. Container and then row. And then call MD4. And inside there we'll have an H2. Say about us. And then a paragraph. So I'm just going to paste in some text here. And then under that we'll have an A tag, and that'll have a class of button of BTN and also BTN default. Whoops. And the text for that will be view details. Okay. So we need a few more of these, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, make sure you're on the same line. That, and then that. And then I'll just change the titles. Okay, so we'll go and reload, and there we go. I also want to add a little footer, so let's go back to the layout because I want the footer on every page. So footer, and then that'll have a paragraph, and we'll give it the little copyright sign, and we'll say 2015, and that's fine. That's, well, just say all rights reserved, just to put something there. Okay, reload, and that doesn't look too good, but we'll fix that. We'll fix all these issues in the CSS. So let's open up the style sheet. So public style sheets style. And I'm going to get rid of this font. I don't like this font. And then we just want padding on the top. So padding top 50 pixels. Save and reload. Alright. Now for the Jumbotron, I'm going to give this an image background. So let me just grab that image. Alright, so this image I am going to put in public images. Okay, it's called bg.jpg. So let's go to here, and we don't need this link style, so we want to style Jumbotron, and we'll say background is going to be a URL, and it's going to be images/bg.jpg, and we'll set that to no repeat. Okay, so we'll save that and then go and reload. Let's see, I want the Jumbotron to stretch all the way across. I think that, yeah, it shouldn't be in a container. So I'm going to get rid of that and then just move everything back one. Alright, so now it spreads across the whole thing. So that looks pretty good. For the footer, let's do that. So footer, give it a background of light gray. And let's see, a height of 40. Text align to the center. Give it a margin top. Margin top of 30 pixels and a padding top of 10 pixels, and make sure overflow is auto. Alright, so that should do it for the footer. Very simple. Alright, so there it is. So that's it for the home page. Now this right here, you'll notice that the home, the link is highlighted, which is correct. That's what we want. But let me just show you how. So in the layout, we have our nav bar, and right here in this unordered list, we have a list item, and basically we're saying class equals, and then we have a condition. And the condition is if the title variable is equal to home, then we're going to set the class to active, okay, which makes it a different color, and that's just standard Bootstrap classes. Alright, so we know that the title is home because we have the title up here, we included it. Alright, now we're also saying if it's about, then add the active class to the about, and then if it's the contact, do it with the contact. Okay, so just really simple conditionals here is how we're doing that. Now for the other pages, okay, so let's do the about. And if you go to our app.js, we need to add the about route. So up at the top here, we're going to say variable. Actually, I'm going to put that right here. So variable about is equal to require. Whoops. /routes /about. And then down here, okay, we're going to say app.use about, and then about. Alright, so save that, and then we're going to open up routes. I'm sorry, we're going to create routes, and then about.js. Okay, we'll open that up. And basically we're going to copy what's in index.js. And let's see, all we need to change is what we're going to render. We're going to render the about.jade file, which we'll create in a minute. And then the title, we'll change that as well to about. Okay, so pretty simple. We're only serving pages here, so there's no interaction with databases or anything like that. Now the reason we have the slash here and not about is because we're using its own routes file. Alright, so this is actually, it's the root of about. Okay, if we were to put this in the index file, which we certainly could, then we would specify about like that. Alright, so that's why it's like that. And that actually confused me for a while when I first started learning Node. Alright, so save that, and then we need to go ahead and create the Jade file. So views, text, and that's going to be about.jade. Now with this file, I'm just going to paste this in. It's nothing that really needs too much explanation. Same thing, we're extending the layout, block content, and then we have a container. We have an H1 in the container with some paragraphs and an unordered list. Okay, very static page. So save that, and let's go ahead and restart the server. Okay, so we're getting an error right here. Cannot find module routes about. Okay, so let's see. Oh, we have 2 dots here. We should only have 1. Hopefully that's the problem. Yep, so it looks like it's starting fine. So we'll reload and click on About. And now you can see that it's giving us the About content, and the menu is also highlighted, and then we also have the About title up here. Alright, so that's exactly what we want. So next we're going to do the contact. We'll do the actual form now, but in the next video we're going to implement NodeMailer, and we're actually going to use Gmail's SMTP servers to send the contact email. Alright, so let's go ahead and do the same thing here. We're going to create a new route, and this will be contact. Then do the same thing down here. Alright, and then we need to create a couple files. Route file. Contact.js. Alright, so let's just copy this. Okay, so I'm going to create the contact Jade file. And I'm going to paste this in. Okay, this is just basically it's a form. We have a container, we have a form, it has the method of post, and then the action is going to go to contact send, which we're going to create that in the next video. And then just an H1 with some form fields. We have a name, email address, and message. Okay, so copy that. I'm going to save that, make sure everything's saved. And then we'll restart the server. Okay, then reload, and now if we click contact, there's our form. Alright, so it's not going to actually send yet. We need to set up the NodeMailer module, and we will do that in the next video.